Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Kat Hurd with me here today. Kat is a corporate consultant and leadership career coach specializing in the med tech industry. Her main focus is coaching and supporting women in the medical device industry. Welcome to the show, Kat.
Thanks for having me, Tim. I'm super happy to be here today.
All right. Let's start maybe with a snapshot of where your business is at right now.
Yeah. So this is my first year in business, 2024.
Well, that's exciting.
Very exciting. So as you shared, I am a coach and consultant. I specifically focus in med tech, but even more specific than that, I work entirely in the interventional pain space right now. That's where, really the lion's share of my experience and background has been. So from a consulting standpoint, I work with early growth stage companies looking to break into or already in the interventional pain space. On the coaching side, I work with medical device reps in all facets of med device coaching and elevating their sales game. And then I work with sales leaders across med tech as well, helping them lead their teams better, build performance, establish and elevate their own career as well. And as you shared, I focus almost exclusively on women, but I've got a lot of really wonderful male clients as well.
Okay. So can you speak a little bit to the state of that industry, kind of how it's made up? Are there little companies, bigger companies? Do they have some of that in-house? So who are the people who really need your services the most?
Yeah. It's really a smorgasbord, honestly, because when you look at it, there are major Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. You've got the Medtronics, the Boston Scientifics, Strykers, those big box companies. They might bring in a consultant like me. They might go with a larger firm because they like to have, a more clear, a suite of services and really multiple heads supporting them. The nice thing of how I consult is that I can do, I wear all hats. And so as a jack of all trades, I have the ability to help small companies in a way where they don't have to bring on multiple different consultants to bolt on to their organization. You bring me on and I can pinch hit in a lot of different areas. Reimbursement.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, give some examples. You were just about to like sales.
I'm going there. Yeah. So that would look like sales strategy, team and leadership development. We also call it talent development these days, employee resource groups, marketing and messaging, right? That's a big one. How are you getting out into the market? And certainly society relationships. So medical device as a whole is really driven, by physician thought leaders. Like every industry has key thought leaders that help drive not just the messaging within the industry, but really the inertia of where the innovation goes. So the physician thought partners are those innovation drivers, and the companies work in parallel with them. So a lot of what I do is help broker those relationships to ensure that a new early growth company has the right connections and the right opportunity in this space.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the consulting arm. And then when we get to the coaching side of it, who needs my services? The reality is just about everyone. Now, who's going to take advantage of growth and additional resource? So Tim, I'm going to steal one of your quotes of the idea of, when you're in academia or when you're in school, asking for help is cheating, right? But in the real world, asking for help is really the way to elevate your game. And we forget when we get out into the corporate world that we need to be asking for help and adding resources for our own growth, not expecting our companies to be the sole drivers of our development.
Right. Sounds like a lot of that's marketing. And well, you mentioned thought leadership. Can you speak a little bit more to that? Because, for example, the U.S. isn't exactly known for their fast adoption of new technology and medicines and so forth. So that sounds like particularly challenging in that industry. How are new products brought to market once they finally get approved, which can be arduous in itself? What's the challenge, and how do you overcome that and getting it into the hands of the different physicians?
Well, if we had about 12 hours,
right? I know.
let me unpack that. But let's see, in 60 seconds, what is the challenge? It's getting, well, I mean, first and foremost, we are a financially driven society. So you can get through the FDA, but until you have clear pathways to reimbursement, your product's not going anywhere. And that it really is a key challenge, in addition to just the time that it takes for FDA approval and labeling and, CMS coding, all that.
Well, you're speaking largely to insurance coverage reimbursement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm seeing, particularly in the pain industry, I'm seeing more and more people go out of pocket just because pain's legitimately a strong driving force.
Yeah. I mean, it's the 6th or 10th, I should know this, but it's considered an additional vital sign, right? Of like, what is your pain level? If you go into the ER, even if you go in, if you're going into the ER, you have pain, right? You're not going in because you just had your hair cut too short. So, but they're always asking, what is your pain level, right? It's the visual analog scale. I think we're all familiar with, like, the really frowny face to the really happy face. Where do you fit in that sliding scale? But you're right. A lot of patients are moving both to more, innovative solutions, which oftentimes, to your point on the speed of approval and integration, those really innovative solutions can take a little bit longer to get the really robust data or get through the FDA system. And sometimes there are some companies now that just decide they don't want to go through the standard reimbursement pathways and that they prefer to do that direct to patient or direct to physician, product distribution, and really rely on cash pay. So you would see that in like stem cell treatment, PRP, right? These are all for joint or ligament or soft tissue issues. And certainly, I'm working with a really cool company right now, Spark Biomedical. And at Spark, they are an external wearable, actually, that goes on the ear. It's a big word, but it's called transauricular stimulation. Tim, I know in your world, that definitely translates well for you. But they stimulate the vagus nerve, helping with opioid withdrawal syndromes. So patients that are looking to titrate down or off of their pain medication. And, there's some really cool additional applications that are coming down the pipe with them. But that's just a small example of a company that doesn't yet have insurance reimbursement, but where patients may choose to utilize that product.
Okay. But the majority of cases are going for reimbursement standard.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at unit of care in interventional pain, it's going to be insurance reimbursement, because it's not cheap these days to get care. Yeah. Okay.
And back to the getting those in front of, so first they have to get that set up before, and then you bring it in front of different clinics or physicians.
Yeah, you're not going to market a product until a provider, you can clearly tell the provider how they're getting paid, or that you make that value determination that, like, we're going to, this is going to be a patient out-of-pocket expense that we're going to pay. Yeah.
Okay. So again, that's a big part of what you're doing is teaching people how to get their product in front of the physicians once it's set up.
Yeah. What is that strategy? How are you selling? How do you build your sales force once you have your coding and reimbursement? Once you've built your sales force, how do you, do their initial training? How do you do their continued development? So it probably makes a little more sense if I add in, I spent the last 15 years in the medical device arena, first as a sales rep on the neuromodulation side of things, so spinal stimulators, and then moving into sales leadership for the last decade. So helping lead teams, grow organizations, and bring products to market.
Okay. And how much of that is you training people, their staff, how to code, and versus just how much of it's getting your foot in the door? Yeah.
You're not really trained. I mean, from a coding and a billing standpoint, once you have insurance reimbursement, then you are, from a physician office, they're already billing and coding on a every patient basis. So it's more providing them with that information and less teaching them how to fish with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So what are the other challenges right now in your industry with, because what sets you apart? Is there a lot of competition, et cetera? There, to my knowledge, there is, but
there's a ton of competition. Absolutely. I think there's a ton of competition in nearly every facet of professional life these days. So, for me personally, it's my ability to both consult with organizations on sales strategy, team development, talent development, and then do that in-house coaching. A lot of what sets me apart on the coaching side is the fact that I've lived at all levels, and I've had really dynamic success as a woman in medical device. It is a very male-dominated industry. And so finding that success and especially breaking into leadership as a female sales rep can be very challenging. And so having the experience that I do at companies of all sizes and scale really allows me to bring additional perspective. So you can work with any coach who can help you elevate your mindset, level up your game. But when you have a coach that also has insider insight on the space that you're swimming in, right? So I can tell you where the potholes are, where the shark infested waters are, and what speed lanes to head for. And that's really, I would say, my superpower when it comes to being a coach.
Okay.
As a consultant, what that looks like.
Very, very valuable.
Yeah, it really is. And it's been fun to see, like I said, I'm coming up on 12 months now, and just to see the impact that it has on folks' careers. I've lived it as a leader, helping people grow their careers. But, now a lot of what I do is I work directly with sales reps. So I'm not, retained by a company to coach these individuals. They're finding me, like you said, lots of marketing. So I'm doing a lot of marketing, and they're coming to me saying, I want to grow. I need the support. I need the resources. Recognizing, again, that you want to create a little bit of separation between your organization and your career development, because they aren't always synergistic and synonymous. And that's okay. But if you grew up, especially for, folks like you and I that grew up in academic backgrounds, you don't learn that. At least I didn't. I shouldn't speak for you, Tim. I wasn't told to go advocate for myself, or, it was like, here's your pay. This is what you get. Here's your lab. Here's your resources. That's it. And you just had to make it work. But corporate life is different.
So you sort of hinted that maybe people make more horizontal moves in the industry. Do people, how long do people stay with certain companies in that space?
It's wildly variant. I know individuals so I spent 11 years at Boston Scientific, and I know folks that are 15, 18, 23 years, so big, long careers at large organizations like that. The smaller the organization, typically the shorter stretch from a career standpoint, because you're usually looking to grow or shift, scope, those sorts of things. And there are less opportunities at smaller organizations. The larger the organization, the easier it is to find new and different roles. But realistically, as a sales rep, you'll see a lot of folks go 2, 3, 4 years and then hop to the competitor. There's, of course, non-compete covenants and clauses that, restrict some of that. But
there's also still a lot of mergers and acquisitions between these smaller groups, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What happens to the reps when that happens?
It's a mixed bag, honestly. And that's the, kind of the roll of the dice that an organization or that an individual makes in going to a smaller organization. So Stryker, who I mentioned earlier, they recently acquired, this past summer, they acquired Vertos Medical.
Okay.
And at Vertos Medical, what ultimately ended up happening is that Stryker integrated Vertos and then did not retain the majority of their staff. I think they retained only 10 or 20% of this. So
it's important to have those skills yourself and your own system and ecosystem of success built into your own network.
It is. That's exactly it. It's an ecosystem of success, and it's how do you create a really broad ecosystem? Because when your ecosystem exists in one tiny vertical, in one spot in the ocean, it becomes really hard if all of a sudden that spot disappears.
Okay, right. Excellent. So that lets me transition nicely into other aspects of success, right? That we all have to be thinking about and go forward. So do you have sort of a goal? So for the first 12 months has gone well. It sounds like that's exciting times. Do you have like a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan And do you have anything exciting in the immediate 12 months that you're launching that you want to share?
In the immediate 12 months, so early 2025, I'm launching my first group coaching program. So right now, what I do when I work with folks is one-on-one bespoke coaching, sometimes on Zoom. We mix it up with a bit of Zoom, phone calls, a little bit of in-person if the individual's local. But so this will be my first group offering. Why it's important is, it's a little bit more financially accessible for folks. It also creates an opportunity to build circles of influence, right? So you get to meet people in different facets of medical device, in different geographical areas. So that's going to be the most exciting. And then end of 2025, I'll have some digital course content coming as well. So 2025 is really focused on the coaching side of the business. Okay. I'm continuing with some really special consulting clients, some that I can't talk about yet, but the coaching business is really where the growth is going to come from in 2025.
Okay. Excellent. Very cool. Okay. And then do you have sort of a longer horizon vision for like say 10 years? Is this something you're going to grow? You want to grow into a bigger sort of legacy company that will be a pillar in the med tech rep space?
Yeah, so I do. I've got some very big goals. Not all of them are fully baked yet. So when you ask like 10-year goal, my 10-year plan is yet to be fully written, right? So, but I'll give you the high level, which is when I left corporate America, when I made that decision, I knew what I wanted to do was create, just a suite of really comprehensive resources. So the start of that suite is with me. So I am MedTech Collective, which is an employee of one, an organization of many thought leaders that went in. So I've already started to pull in key individuals in marketing, in reimbursement, other specialized consultants. And so MedTech Collective will grow into a one-stop shop for companies that are looking to break into the interventional pain space, specifically within medical device. And so that's going to be the 10-year growth. Lots of really exciting things coming down the pike with that too.
Okay, excellent. Very cool. Very exciting. And as a entrepreneur, you have a lot of risk branching out on your own. You left sort of the easy W-2, right, to grow yourself personally and financially. And congratulations on taking those steps, by the way.
Thank you. I think my family is not yet to the congratulations level, so let's give them a call.
Yeah, it's exciting. I always like the joke where the guy's driving into the parking lot to work, and the boss drives in his Ferrari and goes, "Wow, what do you got to do to get a car like that?" And he said, "Well, you come in and work hard every day for the next year, and next year I'll buy another one."
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to work on someone else's dream, or do you want to work on your own? That's excellent. And it requires a lot of responsibility, financial responsibility on your part. I imagine you're putting a lot of your own money into this.
Yeah.
And it will continue to for the first several years at least.
Yeah.
Beyond that, then what are sort of your financial goals? What's your idea of success? A lot of people want to work and they love their business and they want to work in it full time. Some people want to set it up. They're the visionary. They like it and they want to step back and just oversee the things. They don't want to spend the rest of their life toiling away in their business. So what can you speak to that? What those goals are, if you have any ideas for other streams of income, for example?
Yeah, certainly, I have some real estate interests already. That's been something that's been part of. Yeah, right. So I'm excited to have some more conversations with you and get to hear your perspective from a real estate industry standpoint. But so that I would say is my most clear line of sight to an additional stream of income. I already mentioned some of the online more like, passive streams, which are digital courses. What I love about digital courses is it also allows for really accessible educational and growth opportunities for individuals. So I will continue to build out those resources for reps and sales leaders.
Okay.
I would say for sure for the next 10 years, I'm not going anywhere when it comes to being in the business and both, working on it, less than in it, right? But still being very, very hands-on with my clients and both consulting and coaching clients. Past 10 years, certainly the goal would be to have a little bit more time flexibility and freedom But it really has been, Tim, to your earlier point of just like the investment that you have to put into it.
Mm-hmm.
The really fun thing is just like anything, as you build that initial investment, it starts to build its own momentum and to allow that momentum to grow and scale. And so what that will look like in 15 years, certainly aspirationally, I would be part-time in the business and have the opportunity to bring in additional leaders in this space to scale and grow their own careers, because this has never just been like, let me get out of corporate America. Because honestly, I loved my job. It was just 10 years of me fighting this feeling. And I'm sure you probably have a similar story, because most entrepreneurs do, but have this feeling that I was fighting against the whole time of like, I can do more, I can help people on a broader scale, and I can have more influence. So I'd love to be able to unlock that for other, women and men in medical device.
That's excellent. Lovely. So speaking of impact, when you're helping people, where are they? How many are local here in Phoenix? What's the geographical breakdown of your clients?
Yeah, they are all over. Yeah, okay. I go from Florida to Boston to Wisconsin, so your old stomping grounds. Northern California, certainly have folks here locally in Phoenix as well. So no one OUS yet. I would love, when you talk about long-term goals, I would love to coach international as well and get to help, women in other countries grow their careers in medical.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. That I think that most of the, at least like for me being as a neuroscientist, most of the people who would leave academia for industry would go to the farm industry, and those are the coasts largely. I assumed most of your clients are in New Jersey or New York or California.
No, they're all over. Tennessee, Illinois, Middle Kentucky. Now, the reason they're all over is healthcare happens all over, right? So especially when I'm looking on the coaching side of things. So consulting,
they have their regions. Yeah.
But coaching clients, medical sales reps exist in every community across the country. And so, I think one of the things for me, if I look at it, I'm most proud of the fact that I do have reps all over, including some of those smaller communities, because it's really important. The caliber of rep influences the caliber of healthcare that patient receives, depending on the product. And so investing in yourself as a rep is really investing in your community, because you are advancing the outcomes of the patients that are treated by your product.
Right. Yep. It's a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
I love it. So you're very impressive. You have a lot of your professional life together. You're successful. You know where you're going. What do you wish you would have known sooner about building wealth or success?
Everything. Let's be clear that professional success, what LinkedIn doesn't tell you is all the times I not just skinned my knees and fell down, but face planted, struggled to get up. Like, it is not a pretty road. I think it's the challenge of our world these days is everything is a highlight reel, and remembering that there is no life that is just highlights, and what makes life fun. To your question of what do I wish I'd known?
Well, that is something I think important for people to hear right now is that it's going to be hard, and don't compare yourself to other people's highlight reels online. That's good advice in and of itself.
Yeah, and I think honestly, and I've shared about this a lot in the last week on LinkedIn, is you have to advocate for yourself, and that's one thing I didn't know. And I think for me personally, it comes from my background in healthcare. So I was in healthcare as a sports medicine provider before I moved into medical device sales. And this is embarrassing to say, but I didn't know that if I wanted more money, I needed to go tell them I wanted more money and create a business case, because that's not how healthcare works, right? You don't just go fight for a raise, but in corporate America, you do. So I got my first raise, and it was a 20% pay bump because I was really not making much. And they came to me and said, "You're doing a great job." And this was, early in my corporate career. "You're doing a great job. So we wanted to get you more money." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." I never asked for another raise for 7 years, because what that taught me as an individual was, okay, when they want to increase my base pay, they're going to come and do that for me.
Right. They're going to tell me.
Yeah, they're going to tell me. And what the thing of the reality that you live as a sales rep is your raise, you create your own raise. So anytime I would bring up pay, it was like, oh, well, I mean, if you want to make more money,
go sell more.
Sell more. Exactly. Right. So I was missing that insight on the inner workings of corporate and the business piece of it as I built my career. And so it's a lot of the insight and information I look to transfer to my clients now is how do you advocate for yourself? How do you grow in a way that benefits the organization, but still achieves those personal and financial goals you have for yourself?
Awesome. Love it. If people want to learn more about you or your business, what should they do? How can they connect with you?
Yeah. Website's easy. It's kathurd.com. So if you're watching the video, my name's here on the screen. It's kathurd.com or on LinkedIn. Easy peasy.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you very much, Kat Hurd, for joining me today. Appreciate you sharing your story and insights and your story and insights into success and impact in Phoenix, but also nationwide and hopefully worldwide when you continue to grow your consulting. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks, Tim.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.